Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm starting this a little bit different. I'm going to start off on my own and we'll see if we can get there in a little while because I want to talk about the new Life is Strange when I put my thoughts and feelings across and then let him put his thoughts and feelings across afterwards. Because I don't want to be piggybacking on his thoughts. I want to just put my first feelings across about everything. In between, like, everything that's... Because we've just had a couple of Life is Strange announcements and I think they're really cool. Now, you're going to be playing as Alex, who is just going to Haven Springs to meet up with her brother Gabe. Now, let's not forget that Tell Me Why had a very similar story. You've not seen somebody for a period of time, and it's a little bit awkward that they are telling some kind of same back history stories. Obviously, they have differences, but long lost siblings, not seeing each other for a while. It's a little bit of a weird ground there, in my opinion. But there's two games that Donut's released that are quite similar within a few years. On top of that, talking about similarities, this game will consist of a mystery, which Donut's always do. But this mystery isn't going to be about anything. It's going to be a mystery death, which the town is trying to cover up because it looks like it's a certain way. I swear I just saw Twin Mirrors, who did pretty much identically the same thing. Again, a Donut game. One of the worst Donut games, may I add. Steph reminds me very much of going back towards like the Life is Strange characters. I first saw her and I thought of Rachel Amber when I first saw her, but then I realised I know I had seen her in, I think, Before the Storm. And yes, she was in Life is Strange Before the Storm. She was Steph in Life is Strange Before the Storm. So you've got Steph from Life is Strange Before the Storm, so it's tying them all together again, like they did with characters from the Life is Strange 1 to Life is Strange 2. So they are trying to keep it in the same universe and make it obvious that it is the same universe. Now, there's a couple of things I will say before I get much further in. It's apparently not going to be episodic. That to me is a big loss. I like the fact that Life is Strange is episodic. I like how it helps streamers split it up. So you can I'm going to do an episode at the start of this, and I'm going to do an episode at the start of that. It becomes a little bit harder to do in that manner. That's why I really like Life is Strange, is because you can go from episode to episode to episode, and it gives you a little bit of a feeling of the beginning and end of like certain aspects. But I do guess it will stop the ability to go, well, we know that this is coming to the end of this chapter because there's only 5 scenes in each chapter. So I guess that kind of advantages it in a certain way. Now, going to the name itself, Life is Strange True Colors, it relates to her power. Obviously, she was going to have the power. She can see auras around you, whether you're angry, sad, upset. Now, this is an interesting idea. It's going to be colourful. I think it's going to be very well designed. I am unsure whether I am all up for the idea when it comes to other aspects, but like, does they mention that if she can't control her feelings, which is going to be quite interesting to see how they play that into the story. I do think they're going to smash it out of the park, but my thought of them smashing it out of the park has definitely decreased since seeing Twin Mirrors. So not only have I got the reservation because of Twin Mirrors, I also have this reservation now because it's not episodic. It will have an amazing soundtrack, and they've already teased that there's going to be a lot of music in there. She's got a guitar, so she's obviously going to be playing guitar. She's got like a vinyl record collection by the looks of it, so it's going to focus on the music side. They always do great music in these games, and I think that's going to be a strength of this game itself. Now, there's a few things I'm really worried about. And there's a couple of things that, really, really slightly worry me about the game. Life is Strange 2 for me focused too much on the race element. Life is Strange 2 was a fantastic idea and it was a fantastic story as a whole. It concentrated too much on race. It could have concentrated on the fact that they couldn't stay in a certain area because he's trying to look after his brother. And I like the fact he wasn't the one with the powers. That to me was really good. But I'm worried that this game will concentrate on race, but we'll see. I'm hoping not, at least. From the trailer, I don't think it is. From the trailer, I think it's one of the love interests who kills your brother. But we will see. Yeah, I think it might be one of the love interests. The male love interest, just because it would be something very different. And if it is, I called it here now. It does make me feel, because I've drawn parallels with a lot of the Don't Nods games, that they're running out of ideas. How can we have a messed up kid? How can we have two kids that have not known each other for a while and then be related? Now, obviously, this is something that, even if you think about Life is Strange, there was friends that hadn't seen each other for a while. Then you look at Life is Strange 2, they were actually brothers, they was together. You look at Tell Me Why, they had been separated. You look at Twin Mirrors, it was two friends who had been separated and one of them away. There's a theme here. Now, do I think this game will be good? Yes, I do. So we'll see how it goes, really. But there's also other news that they dropped, that Life is Strange is getting a remastered. Life is Strange getting a remastered is a very, very good step forward for the game. It is looking old, and I honestly think it is an amazing game. I know Duck Plague will be straight on getting that remastered and probably play it through straight away. But yeah, what do you think, guys? And hopefully we'll have a few people, if I can get hold of them today, before I've got to get this out, who will discuss their thoughts and feelings after seeing the whole trailer and what's been said about it. I think she's Asian American. And obviously my thoughts do go out to the Asian American community at this moment in time because of the terrible attacks on that community in these last few. Well, yeah, what's your opinions, guys? I certainly I'm interested to see what it's going to be like, because they generally get the stories quite spot on. It is the team that did Life is Strange Before the Storm, so it's no surprise to see some Life Before the Storm characters come back in, and they brought in a character who did Dungeons and Dragons, well, a Dungeons and Dragons based game in the in Life is Strange Before the Storm. I wonder if they bring that game back just as like a side thing. I wonder if you get mention of the friends that she once had. Will we find out a bit more information about what's been going on in her life in between? Will we find out about what happened on what the real ending of okay, I'll try and get my words out. See, I'm excited for this game, but I'm gonna stay reserved because I was excited for Twitter is. However, we'll move on now into our next subject. So a day later, and I've not been able to contact Ben. Well, I have. He's streaming at the moment, so I can't really get his feedback on the Life is Strange thing. So we'll probably get that next week. But it gives me a chance to talk about something else. Something else we're doing quite a bit of, and that's Pokemon. Now, Pokemon is obviously been about since about end of 1990s, and it's been pretty big. And if you think about Pokemon as a whole, so you've got the base games, which is obviously where you go collect your gym badges, you take on the Elite Four, or you take on whoever is at the end to become the champion. Now, it is all a very good game. I really enjoy it as a game, and it's one of them games that I can really get behind, and I really enjoy. I am very much Gen 1 when it comes to like my favourite Pokemons, Cubone, Marowak, Charmander, Charizard, Charmeleon. Charmeleon? Yeah. So I'm definitely in that kind of category and area. Now, something much like Fortnite, and again we praise Fortnite here, that they found a way to evolve and change. Yeah, they found a way to change and still be relevant. Now, we've often discussed Pokemon, and I think it was in one of the podcasts. If not, it was in a voice call that I had with somebody else. And we discussed about Pokemon being targeted at the wrong audience. It's not people who, it's not kids now picking it up, it's the older generation, it's adults now. So it's less of a kids game and more of an adults game. And yeah, I can get behind that thought process. But in the same way, would adults be as happy to play Pokemon if it was more aimed at adults and there's more an adult version of it? I don't think there would. I think you're changing the whole unique selling point of the game. It gives us an escapism. It is very childish as the game. The whole ideas and the systems of the game is beautifully well done. And I don't think changing that, the DNA of the game and being a child's game, would actually help the series. However, maybe you could throw, like, and this is the reason why I don't think they've done an MMO yet, because obviously the new game that they've got coming out looks very much Breath of the Wildy, and they have started to introduce multiplayer into the game. Do I honestly see a future where like multiplayer is more used? Yeah, I do. There's definitely like signs in Sword and Shield that they started to experience multiplayer. And it's like when I look at the evolution of the games, I definitely see an MMO in the future, but it's changing the selling point of the game. And I don't think that will do them good as a company. Much like Skyrim, much like, why I try to remember the name of it, the nuclear one, Fallout, that's the one. Much like both of them, when they decided to change their unique selling point of being good open world single player games, it lost a lot, and I think it really put them back, in my opinion, at least. Now, that's where it all gets a little bit more awkward, because when you like look back at those games and change their unique selling point, they will start to make roads into those markets, but I don't think they'll ever repeat the success they've had in their first original selling points. Now, something else I want to mention about Pokemon, and we're going to go with Sword and Shield here. Firstly, in Pokemon, you get this whole aspect that the dads are never there. It seems like, I don't know how these women get pregnant, but the dads are never there. I struggle to think of a game where the dad was there. I mean, the men leave home at the age of 13 to go on Pokemon adventures. They don't leave home to join an army or something. It's Pokemon adventures. They make males, especially before Sword and Shield, sound very self-centered and selfish. And by the way, in Pokemon Sword and Shield, there is a very direct link between women and a kitchen. I don't know what kind of image they're trying to give of the British population, because obviously it is kind of based in Britain. The fact that women are always in the kitchen is a little bit bad. It certainly is not the most convenient of images if you wish to kind of go along those routes. I'd also say when you start Pokemon Sword and Shield, to me it sounds like, because obviously Pokemon games are always translated. The translations are not great. When I say the translations are not great, just take a look at the translations, because there's, at the starting point, when you've just got your Pokemon and you're talking with Leon and Hop, Leon makes it sound like, in the British translation, that you and Hop was having a romantic affair in the bedroom. You're both about 13 years of age. It certainly feels a little bit dodgy. However, it overall, the translations do give a good chuckle at some of the ways that they've been done. You can obviously tell it's probably not done by a naturally native English speaker. They probably learnt the language instead of learning it the reverse way round. Because if it's someone who was naturally English of speaking, they would have took their words and I think they would have put it in a bit more contextual. Some of the lines just don't make sense contextually, and it happens in every game I play that is subbed where they change the words to fit an English audience, and it's always quite interesting to see. I'm trying to think whether I don't think Final Fantasy would be one of them games that was designed for another language first and foremost. Yeah, as I say, it's always interesting when I pick up games like that. The fact that they somehow don't like fit the whole ability to discuss or talk about certain aspects because their translation isn't quite perfect. It's done book by book, done by a book style, not by sense. And I understand it. It's the best and it's the cheapest and fastest way to do it than trying to make. But when these people write it down, they must have broken English. Broken as in not full knowledge of, because some of the lines just when you look at them don't make what should be making sense. Recently, we've also been playing the Pokemon trading card game, which is I'll get onto in a bit because that's been amazing. Really, really enjoyed that, and that's obviously where all these games have stemmed from. The cards and the TV series and the films. There is so much now out there that is Pokemon that I think that it's probably one of the longest running brands. I mean, Commander and Conquer have the record for the longest running character with Kane. But Pokemon's never stuck to the same characters, so they've never really had that ability to. It'd been interesting to see if they'd stuck with the same character, whether they would actually have a longer line for their main characters. Now, as I look at Pokemon Sword and Shield, we'll go back to Sword and Shield. I look at the starters. The starters on Pokemon Sword and Shield, obviously, you have fire, grass, and water. The water one, Sobble, just annoys me, like such a crybaby. And it has the greatest evolutions. Don't get me wrong. The story of it and becoming from something that cries a lot and just doesn't appear to like life. It then heads towards this position where it's a sharpshooter and it's like a sniper. So cool. But it also looks horrific in its final form. Like, you've skipped leg day. But that being said, it's probably a good Pokemon to have. I've never really used it that much. I have one on Pokemon Sword and Shield because I'm a completionist. I really actually enjoy it. However, it's, to me, definitely the weakest start. Then you go to Scorbunny, who I'm trying to Scorbunny and Grookey, isn't it? Scorbunny, who is your fire type. Scorbunny just looks like a barrel of laughs. It looks fun. It looks like one that would just be following you around. I guess you get the same thing with Grookey as well. It feels like they would both be happy walking around behind you, whereas Sobble would just be happy in a ball. Taking it back slightly, because I just thought about this, the way that they look at the British culture and bringing in foxes and they brought in sheep. Now, how British can you get other than thinking sheep is like a major thing? I mean, Is sheep really a major thing? Um, I'm less sure on that one. It's more of a Highlands thing. And I guess that's you get to see the conception of what people think of the British people. I don't I don't get where the starters fit in with their vision of the UK, because the starters don't really resemble the UK. I wouldn't I'd have much preferred to see like a Firefox, or a fox that was fire. But there you go, you got something quite similar in Ninetales, I guess. So like a Firefox as a starter, if you wanted to go along the sheep line, you could have a grass type sheep. And in the same way, if you obviously then have water left, jellied eels, going and playing along with the London ideas. So jellied eels, so you could have an eel water type. Now that would have fitted the whole UK conceptual ideas, but I'm going along with their thing that lots of sheep is British. Obviously, that's the Wooloo and the Dublu. Dublu? Dublu? So yeah, there's definitely conceptual ideas there, which I think they missed out on. They've obviously included a cup of tea, which was a ghost type. That was always going to be an interesting one. Trying to play the British as people who drink lots of tea, and that's fine. That's fine, you know. We do drink tea. Yeah, we are commonly well known for tea. The biggest insult you can possibly do is dump our tea over water into the sea. I also see the cup of tea also links towards like Beauty and the Beast, because obviously it's got a chip. So Chip from Beauty and the Beast, or Once Upon a Time, which is pretty awesome. So you see like where they got their conceptual ideas, the ideas that they have and had for each and every single one. Now, as we look further and forward on from this conceptual ideas of what Pokemon have and what they continue to build with, it interests me about where they will go next. They're definitely going more Breath of the Wild, as we've seen in the next game that they've promised. But they also seem to be reflecting back to like your Pokemon Snap times. Pokemon Snap was an amazing game for the time, and I do wonder how they're going to do that. But could they not have included Pokemon Snap in, well, the style of Pokemon Snap in that free roaming game, so you could get a camera out or something, or is that too single game thinking? I mean, I definitely think that we have scope to make Pokemon games bigger, but they are stuck by the systems that they are on. They're on a Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch isn't the most powerful console. Could you imagine what you could do with a Pokemon game on a PlayStation or an Xbox or on a PC? That to me would really give you the opportunity to expand the Pokemon universe, but that will never happen. Nintendo are very protective. They're nearly as protective as Sony is over some of their items, like Spider-Man, for example, which I do feel one day will go and slide across to the PC. However, Nintendo may one day do that. If you do like your Pokemon though, and you do want to play a PC version, Temtem is a very good game. I've been playing Temtem for a while now. It's all about synergy and having two Temtems together. Pokemon Temtem, same thing. And I think that what they've designed there is pretty awesome as a game, and it's done by an independent developer, and it's very, very similar to Pokemon. Actually, I question how they haven't had a lawsuit leveled against them for the game. And that's not me wanting them to have a lawsuit leveled against them, because I don't. I honestly think that they are trying to bring what Pokemon has over to the PC and edit and change a few things. And it's very hard to make a game that's similar to Pokemon that isn't ripping off from Pokemon. And certainly, I do feel like when you look at it, you could go, this is a bit close to what a Pokemon is. Even some of the Temtems look very similar to Pokemon. That being said, I really like the game. I like the fact that it's you're controlling two, and there's the synergy, and it's an open world MMO. So there's definitely proof that an MMO version would work. Just look at what Temtem's done and have a look at their sales figures. I don't know what their sales figures is though. But overall, that is something which I do think would be good in Pokemon. Because imagine going around with your friends and relaxing. Catching your Squirtle squads or your Charizards on a or empty rock. But that leads me to the last topic of today's podcast. And that is to talk about yourselves. And as always, at the end of this podcast, there'll be phone numbers that are shown if you are looking at it on the YouTubes. Now, this is deeply important to me, and I know I mention in several of my videos to make sure that you take those phone numbers or take phone numbers that are relevant to your country, because they are really, really important. You never know when you'll need to give those numbers to somebody. You may see someone just on the street randomly, thinking about hurting themselves. You just be walking over a bridge and someone might be tempted to. Firstly, obviously, talk to them. Be nice, be kind, be civil. Don't just shove a phone number in their face and run off. It's take them down, get them a cup of tea, be British, and help them when you can. Because the reality of the situation is that it's hard for people who are it's hard for people who are suffering to ask for help. And asking for help's a lot harder if you then have to look the phone numbers up. So if you can just have it to hand at the time and you go, I really want to find help. If the only thing you got to do is just go click, click, click on your phone and you're on the ringer to them, then that's a lot better than having to worry about like little bits and pieces, having to find the phone number, then put the phone number into your phone and then like give them a ring. So I think it's deeply important. Everyone has one of those phone numbers stored in their phone. Obviously, there's plenty of helplines out there. I do feel it would be better if like there was just like the one major helpline, and so when people raise money for this helpline, there wasn't like a Mind UK one, there wasn't a Samaritans one, there was just one charity that did it. But that doesn't fit into the whole model of having lots of people highly paid for doing the exact same things. How that's a bit of a different tangent for me when I talk about charity. That there's too many charities doing the exact same things, and I don't think it helps the situation, because if you spread the money thinner, you don't get as good services. Now, is Samaritans the right people to do the thing? Yeah, Samaritans do it very well. The Mind UK do it. Yeah, so it's, and then obviously the text one as well. So, but imagine putting them all together, getting them all to work together, and having a set way of doing things. And so when you're raising money for these charities, there wasn't like a massive overhead of having extra admin staff because you've got 3 different charities doing the same. But yeah, that's my opinion on charity as a whole. I once tried to start up a charity / not-for-profit. And that was to try and help people who suffer in isolation, because I suffer with loneliness, isolation. And the whole concept of the charity was to run like events that could very easily be run in venues. Now, do I honestly think that I did it all for the right? Yeah, I do, and kind of it's why I stream as well. I couldn't get that off the ground because places just wasn't interested in running events. And it's interesting because the places I approach, and I was like, "This is the list of things that we do, etc., so forth. This is the equipment we've got. We'll come in, we run an event, and then we can no payments or anything like that. But we do it for nothing, basically. There'll be a small fee for everyone coming in, so that we can, like £1, for example, just so that we can get new equipment and new things for to work with and like cover something of a wage, I guess. But that wasn't my first and foremost belief or thought. It was more because I wanted to be able to help people, and I think that's key. I'm sure I'll talk more about that in the future. But anyway, on that note, I am going to leave you all to get on with your day and whatever you've been up to while listening to this. Whether you've been what the Pokemon world seems to think a typical woman and working in the kitchen. I do not think that. I do not believe in that theory. You're strong, you're independent, you should be wherever you wish to be. Male, female, or however you wish to disclose yourself, and however you wish to class yourself. But remember, the phone numbers are coming up at the end, obviously. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all next time. Hopefully, with a bear.
Hey guys, Roving Bear here. If you've enjoyed our pod chats and you've enjoyed other great content, you can find more from me at twitch.tv/The Roving Bear. Stay safe. I love you all.
You have been listening to a Sanctuary podcast. I have been your host, Bareth87, and there's a few things I'd like to just add. Please remember these important phone numbers. The Samaritan UK is 116123. That's 116123. Shout UK, this is a text line. It's 85258. That's 85258. And Crisis Line USA is 1-800 273 8255. That is 1-800 273 8255. Please go and check out your local phone numbers for organisations like this and pass these numbers on to your friends and family. Keep them in your phone for when you need them and make sure you are using these very important resources. From myself, Bareth87, I want to wish you a fantastic evening, day or morning. You can find me at www.twitch.tv/Bareth87. And again, peace out and stay well.
Beep, beep. You've been listening to a Sanctuary broadcast. We will now resume regular programming.